One thing that's really nice about neglecting your property, which is kind of what we do, is that you get to forage stuff from it because you're just letting it go. And it's amazing how much food the land actually wants to grow for you. You just got to know what you're picking. Hey guys, welcome back to Sparkman Homestead. My name is Krista. So last week, actually it was 2 weeks ago, Stephen and I went out into our back pasture and we did some foraging for some mulberries. He was out mowing one day and came in and said, "Do you know we have a whole bunch of super ripe mulberries out there?" And I was like, "No." I don't really go to the other side of the pasture because it's so far away and it's just usually the grass is too tall, so I don't walk out there. I had no idea that there was all of those mulberry trees out there. I did actually film that day and I filmed us picking the mulberries. So I'm gonna include those clips in here to show you guys us picking them. But I have to tell you one thing. When we were out there, we had no clue that that whole back pasture where he had mowed was full of poison ivy, like full of it. I had my camera sitting in it. I was reaching down, looking at different plants. We were both in shorts. And one day later, Stephen said to me, "My legs are so itchy. There must have been something out in that pasture when I was mowing." He thought that his legs were irritated by the triggers, which is kind of like a flea like that lives in the fields here. But anyways, he thought that that's what that was. And then a couple of days later, I started to get really bad itching on my leg and I started to getting a rash. And I realized, I said, I think that there is something out in that pasture. Sure enough, I went out with my plant app, checked, and there was poison ivy everywhere where we were picking. So I haven't been out there since that whole experience. The trees are still loaded full of mulberries and I probably definitely could get some more if I went out there, but not until we get that remedied am I gonna go out there and pick. So anyways, I'm gonna include that clip of us out there frolicking in the poison ivy for you guys to see. And then when we get back, I'll show you what we're gonna do with that stuff. So Stephen just got done mowing half of the pasture and he came in and said to me, "Hey, do you know that we have a whole bunch of mulberry trees in the back there and they are full and loaded with mulberries. So we are going to go out and pick some mulberries." I just planted a couple of pepper plants back here today, and then I also put some lemongrass in here, and then we have some eggplant in here. Now I had to put some diametris or DE on these because either the flea beetles are getting them or pill bugs. So Stephen said he mowed a pathway. This is still very deep and we definitely have snakes out here, so we're going to be very careful. Look at how high this grass is. We actually try not to mow it too much because it is really good for the soil to have this just really high. It helps the soil absorb the water, so it is not good to mow it too much. All right, so these are a whole bunch of honeysuckle bushes that we got back here. Honeysuckle, oh, I love it so much.
All the way down.
Yeah, that's a mulberry tree. These are really little mulberries, but still they're good.
Wild.
So we have a mulberry tree way over there. It's actually over top of the chicken coop. And I guess the birds have planted the seeds over the years. We keep this tree line here because behind here is a farmer's field. They spray, it is not a organic field. So we like to have this nice barrier of trees to kind of help from the spray coming over into our property, because we do things organic and you know, I don't want that coming over. We're gonna pick these mulberries. I'm gonna rinse them off really good. I don't know if they've sprayed yet. I think they have actually sprayed because they put corn down. So they for sure have sprayed. See if I can show you guys over in this fence line here. There's the farmer's field and it's got all the corn coming up. Steven says there's bigger ones down here. Oh, there's lots in there.
Yeah, look how big these ones are. Look at those.
Oh, that's much better.
Yeah. And they get bigger as we go further down.
I have to go to the tree over by the chicken nugget, by the chicken's coop.
Chicken nuggets.
Oh my gosh. All these trees are all mulberry trees. Like this one right here too. Look at this one. This one's got some good ones on it. Nice big berries. Now in here, over here in this honeysuckle bush, we also have, I think they're getting pretty drowned out by the honeysuckle, but there's also, that looks like a Bradford pear tree in there, I think. We also have wild blackberry back here, but I'm not seeing any of it. One thing that we have a lot of too on our property is wild strawberries. And you can definitely eat them, but they are very, very bland tasting. They're not like a sweet strawberry. They almost have no flavor to them. One thing that's really nice about neglecting your property, which is kind of what we do, is that you get to forage stuff from it because you're just letting it go. And it's amazing how much food the land actually wants to grow for you. You just got to know what you're picking. I know these are mulberry bushes. I've checked and made sure. One thing with mulberry though that I have learned through my research is that you don't want to eat it when it is not fully ripe. Apparently it's not good for your tummy. So you need to make sure, number one, that you know what you're picking and that you're not going to eat something poisonous, but also that you're eating it when it's ripe, because you don't want to go foraging and think you're doing something good and then end up eating something poisonous. So double check and make sure what you're eating is not poisonous. These are actually small mulberry trees compared to the one that we have over there. The one that we have over there, we cannot get to the top of the tree because how tall do you think that mulberry tree is over there?
16 feet up.
Yeah.
20 feet up.
It's pretty high up, so we can't really get a lot of the berries. And honestly, they have been dropping for a while because they drop right into the chicken's coop and the chickens eat them. And I've never, ever harvested them. I hear people talking about how it's mulberry season, but I've honestly never harvested them. I've never done anything with them. So I think what we'll do with these ones is I think we'll maybe make a jelly or a jam with them because it's the easiest thing to do with them. We'll see. I'll look online and see what there is, but I think making a jam is a good idea. One really quick way to harvest mulberries, and obviously we can't do this because of the way that the fence line is, you can actually put a blanket down on the ground and then shake the limbs, and then all of the ripe mulberries will just fall onto the blanket, and then you can just pick them off the blanket. We're just doing it a really quick way, I guess, right now. This is just kind of a last minute foraging. Also, I feel some rain coming, so we might end this picking a little bit sooner than later. There's lots of little tiny ones. I'll show you guys the app that I use for looking plants up. It's called Picture This. I'll leave a little picture of what the app looks like on the screen here. I just used the app because I was convinced that this was a Bradford pear tree, but it's actually a elm tree. So there's just such a mix of trees. So we have an elm tree here, we have a maple growing there, then we have the mulberries. It's just a mess of whatever the birds drop is whatever we let grow. The other reason we also like to have this pasture kind of grow up instead of just cutting it, not only for better soil health, but we also like to encourage the birds and the bees and the butterflies to all kind of come in here, because if they're in here getting pollen from this, they're gonna go to my garden. And I think that there is a honeybee nest over here somewhere. I don't know where it is, but we see a lot of honeybees on our property. We don't have any honeybees, which I wish we did, but I'm not there yet in my self-sufficiency goals yet. This tree is loaded full of mulberries. And it's very, very nice picking them right now because the honeysuckle's here and I love it. We also have some red clover in here, which is really, really good for the soil. So I like seeing that. And then this right here beside it, this is a blackberry bush. So we have clover, blackberry, honeysuckle, mulberry. There's a little bit of a mix of everything.
The vine.
Yeah, that I bet you is like a morning glory or something. I don't know. It's got flowers on it. Let's see what it is. So I'm gonna check my plant app and see what this particular thing is. So you just take a picture like this, try to get everything in it. Like I wanna get these in it, this in it. That is a forest grape, also known as a fox grape, wild grape, winter grape. It is non-toxic to humans and it is a perennial. So wild grape, I wonder if you can eat it. I'll have to do some research and see if you can eat these. But that's cool. Now we have wild grapes out here also. The other thing that we have to be really careful about when we go in the house is we have ticks back here, so we kind of have to shake off our hair. Well, Steven's wearing a hat, so he doesn't really have to worry about it, but definitely shake off our clothes and kind of check all over just to make sure that we don't have any ticks on us, because I have seen a couple ticks come in the house with us. Also, the fact that this is so long back here, this grass, it's inevitable that you're gonna have ticks. So yeah, we do a tick check when we go in the house also. More of this wild grape. I'm really gonna have to do some research on it. Because if I can get grapes making like wild grape juice, or like maybe making like a wine with it, that would be really fun. But I think we're gonna call it quits soon because that storm is really rolling in. We're starting to hear a lot more thunder and we're a long way back from the house. I don't want to get stuck out here in some pouring rain. And we didn't take our ATV out here, we walked out here. One thing I like about having this pasture, because we have almost 6 acres back here, is Steven likes to mow a path around the pasture. It's really nice to come out here at night at the sunset and just kind of walk around the field. It's enjoyable, but you gotta kind of watch out for snakes. I'm not a fan of the snakes. So you just kind of watch where you're walking all the time. We just hit the jackpot of mulberries.
Wow,
this tree is loaded.
And these are big ones.
Sorry, the neighbor's in their ATV right now. Yes.
Look at these.
Look at the size of these ones.
Yeah. These are big ones.
Bucket's starting to get full.
Good.
Steven said it's nice, it's a little canopy. There's actually this little back corner of the property back here. This is where when we process our chickens and stuff, we actually throw the stuff that we don't use. We actually put it back here and bury it under the soil. That way, if any, animals are gonna come out, they're gonna be pretty far away from the property. I'm not trying to encourage the coyotes to come up to the house. So anyways, we bury the stuff back here, and Steven has always wanted to build like a little bench back here so that we can come and sit back here, because it is really nice and quiet when the neighbor's not ripping around in their ATV. It's usually pretty quiet back here. This one has all white mulberries up here, so this one's not even close to being ripe yet, so we can keep harvesting these for a while. Found a good bunch. Look at them all up there. Mm-hmm. Oh, look at, there's some big ones right over here. The more riper they are, they just fall right off.
I'm literally getting rained on right now.
Yeah. The problem is you give it a little shake, they're all gonna fall to the ground. Look at all these blackberries. It's loaded full of blackberries.
Yeah, I haven't even started yet.
Nope. Also, with these little areas back here, we get a lot of deer that come and lay back here because they like to eat the blackberries. You can see the spots where they lay down because the grass is all squished down, but that's one of their lay down spots. And then Steven started mowing here, but this is another one of their spots where they like to lay down. They just hide in our grass. Lots of wood out here and I should be knocking on it, but they honestly, because we keep them pretty well fed back here, the deer do not come up to my garden. I think it's because there's a lot more activity up closer to the house, so they just tend to stay back here, but I'm happy to let them have all of this stuff as long as they leave my actual garden alone. I remember one time I was out at the garden, this was last year, like mid-gardening season, and there was a deer back here just eating the blackberries while I was in the garden. And I just looked at it and I'm like, don't you dare. Don't you dare even think about coming up to my garden. It just stared at me. But it wasn't even fazed by me being in there because I think it knew I wasn't gonna really do anything to it. We are gonna have so many wild blackberries. Now they don't get as big as the you pick type of blackberries or the kind that you get at the grocery store, but they are still delicious. They still make jam the same way. But this is all loaded full of it. And it's all along the whole fence line. I'm leaving Steven because that sky is looking dark and I have the camera. I'm not trying to get the camera wet, but he is trying to pick he's trying to get all of the mulberries. Which, have at it, I'm happy. This tiny little pasture area over here is where I keep all of my compost and my wood chips and stuff. And these are the original mulberry trees. Like huge mulberry trees. So I can't obviously pick all of them up there, but we can get ones that are kind of closer to the ground. That's all I have left of a huge wood chip dump that I just got. I've been using them up. I need to get some more. But we'll pick some from over here. This is the amount of mulberries that we ended up with. We almost got a full gallon of them. So I'm just gonna quickly rinse them off. Because we hand pick these, they're not too dirty. I have heard if you use the shake method where you shake it into a blanket, you do need to wash them a little bit more because they're a little dirty. And it is perfectly safe for what I am doing to leave the stems on. So I'm gonna juice these in my brand new steam juicer that I just got from Amazon. Love this thing, such a game changer when it comes to making jellies. So all you do is you put water in the bottom and then you put whatever you're wanting to juice on the top in the strainer basket. And then in the middle, that's where all of the juice collects. And then you just attach this hose and it drains all of the juice out for you. So I ended up getting almost a half a gallon of juice from these, and I let this go for a couple hours. This thing is so easy. Like you just put the berries in or whatever you're juicing and just come like every, I'd say half an hour, and just put a jar under it and it drains all of the juice out for you. It's so awesome. And the juice is super clean with no seeds in it. We got half a gallon of mulberry juice from using that steam juicer yesterday. Here it is. Nice, beautiful black mulberry juice. This stuff stains everything it comes in contact with. In fact, one of the things that mulberries are actually known for is their ability to dye things. They're really good if you want to do like a natural dye on fabrics. Mulberries, perfect. But anyways, I did all of this yesterday and put it in my fridge. My church right now is having VBS, Vacation Bible School, and I'm helping out in the kitchen right now. So I did not have time to turn this into jelly last night, but that is what we're gonna do today. So it is gonna be a super easy process because we already have the juice done. Now this I let go for 2 hours, so it might be a little bit more watered down and not as concentrated. They say that usually with doing berries, it usually takes about 45 to 50 minutes, and I let this go for 2 hours just because I was trying to get absolutely everything out of the berry. So I tasted a little bit of this, and I don't know if it's because I let it go too long or if mulberries in general are just very bland tasting fruit, but there is not a lot of sweetness to it. And I actually heard that mulberries are supposed to be tart, and there's not a lot of tartness to this either. It's just very bland tasting. So for our jelly today, we are gonna mix it with some honey. Actually, I don't know if we're gonna do honey because the honey that I got from Azure recently, it's not the best tasting honey. Every time I order honey from them, it's always different. And it's always because it depends on the season and what the bees are foraging, it's gonna taste different. But you can see this little dark layer here. This is a different batch than the bottom layer. The bottom layer, this honey is delicious, but I found that I'm not a fan of this darker stuff. It just has a weird taste to it. I don't know, maybe I'm just being too sensitive. But I really don't want to use sugar because I prefer my jams to be made with a honey. I guess we'll just use honey and we'll see, because there's only a tiny little bit of a layer on it, so it won't be too much in our mixture. And then we're going to use the Pomona's pectin also for this, so that we can use the honey while making the jelly. I'm just going to use the pamphlet that comes in the box for the directions. You could just go to the Pomona's website. They probably have the basic directions on their website also. So let's see, we're gonna use a couple of different things here. So we're gonna do a jelly made with honey. So this is a unsweetened juice, so I have not added any sugar to this yet. You could definitely drink this stuff, just add some sweetener to it, and it probably would taste really good. But I'm just wanting to make a jelly with it because I've never experimented with mulberries before. We've lived here now for 5 years at this particular property, and we have never harvested off of these mulberries. This is the very first year that we've just kind of really been into foraging and just using some stuff on our property that is just growing wild. I love the idea of free food. And like I said earlier in the video, the fact that we really neglect that back part of the pasture works in our benefit because we are getting some delicious things out of it. And I cannot wait until those blackberries are ready, because I am so going to be making blackberry jelly and blackberry jam with them. I already have a couple of plans to do with it, and definitely I'm going to be making some preserved blackberries so I could do cobbler with it. Love blackberry cobbler. But anyways, we're dealing with the mulberries today. So here we have a couple of directions for different stuff. I don't see mulberries on here, but they are very similar to a blackberry, raspberry, elderberry. So I'm just gonna follow those directions. So it says to mash the raw fruit through a fruit sieve and then collect a juice. So we've already did that task yesterday by juicing it. Or it says you can lightly mash the fruit and then simmer in a little water and pour into a jelly bag and let it do its thing. Again, that steamer, so much of a game changer when it comes to making juice to do jellies. So we need to have 4 cups of juice for this, and then we also need some lemon or lime juice. Now, whenever you're canning, you want to make sure that you are using bottled lemon juice. And the reason is because that will guarantee that it has the right acidity that you need for your recipe. I just got this at Costco. This stuff's a really, really good deal. You get 2 of them in a package. And then we need either 1/2 cup to 1 cup of honey, or 3/4 to 2 cups of sugar. So we're gonna use, because these are really, really bland, we're gonna use a full 1 cup of honey. We're also gonna double this recipe because I think there's about 8 cups in here. I drained that through a sieve and there's still a little bit of seeds in there, but that's okay. So I have some calcium water left over from another canning project that I did, and this recipe says that it needs 4 teaspoons of calcium water. The calcium water just comes in the Pomona's packet. You just make it up and you can leave it in your fridge. So it just comes in a little packet like this, and it makes almost a full 1/2 pint. And usually recipes only call for 4 teaspoons of it, so you always have leftover stuff. And I just leave it in my fridge, and then that way I could just use it for another canning project. So got some pectin. So we need to have 4 teaspoons of pectin and 4 teaspoons of the calcium water. So we're gonna double it again, so 8 and 8. I'm gonna get out my medium-sized pot, and we are gonna add our 8 cups of juice into our pot. And I'm purposely wearing black for this activity because, again, stains everything. Oh, we got some more seeds in here too. These are really, really seedy. I'm wondering if I should actually just run this through another sieve just to get some more of these seeds, because they are really, really seedy. Have some Mechlin cloth here. So I'm just gonna put my measuring cup underneath a strainer, and then we'll just strain these through again, because I really, really do not want those little seeds in there. Oh yeah, look at how many are in the pot. It's probably not gonna show you. There's a lot in there. Give that pot a little rinse. Not a lot, just a little bit. Look at, this is how bad it stains things. Look at the print of the strainer. It really, really stains things. I think those seeds got through yesterday when I was making it because I was pushing the fruit down to try to extract a little bit more juice out of it. So I probably ended up pushing some seeds through that top strainer basket. Well, now I'll pour the juice back in here. I also have some 1/2 pint jars in this water bath canner, and I have this on a high temperature. So I'm just getting those jars nice and hot. Now, because we are water bath canning this for more than 10 minutes, well, actually we're water bath canning it for 10 minutes exactly. It's a new guideline that they have where if you are water bath canning or processing for more than 10 minutes, it's not required that you sterilize. But I just have them in this hot water bath because I'm trying to get the jars hot, because I'm going to be adding hot liquid to the jars. And if I have a room temperature jar or even a cooler jar, it's automatically going to break that jar. So I'm not necessarily sterilizing them. I'm just getting the jars hot. So we have our juice in the pot. And now we need a 1/4 cup of lemon juice. Again, you can use lime juice if you would like. That actually might taste good. Kind of like a lime mulberry, but we're just gonna use lemon. So we're gonna add that to the juice. Okay, so I need 8 teaspoons of this calcium water. Hopefully we have enough. Yep, we had enough. I just added a little bit more because some of the teaspoons weren't full level teaspoons, so I just wanted to make sure I had the appropriate amount. So I still have that much left, so this is gonna go back in my fridge. I'm just gonna stir that calcium water in and the lemon juice, and we are gonna bring this to a boil. It's probably gonna take a while to come to a boil because it's pretty cold. I've had it in my fridge all night. So next up, we're gonna get our sugar mixture ready. Now again, because I'm doubling this, I was gonna use 1 cup of honey per recipe, so it really would be 2 cups of honey. I'm gonna start out with 1 cup of honey and give it a taste test and see if it's sweet enough for me. And then if it's not, we'll add a little bit more honey into it. The amount of pectin is not gonna change. The amount of pectin is based on the liquid measurements, not on your sugar that you're adding. So we're still gonna add 8 cups of pectin to this. So here's our 1 cup of honey. And then now we're gonna add our 8 teaspoons of pectin into this. Oh, I'm gonna have to get another packet because this one I already used a little bit out of 6. So I had 6 in there. Let me go and get another box. 7. Just need to add 1 more in here. I just had to rewatch that footage because I thought maybe I was 1 teaspoon shy of the pectin, but I wasn't. We have 8 teaspoons in here. We're just gonna mix in this pectin into this 1 cup of honey. I'm feeling like I probably should just be proactive and add an extra 1/2 cup in here. Because again, this mulberry stuff is not sweet at all. It turns a nice, beautiful caramel color once you add the pectin in. Yeah, we're gonna be proactive. And we're gonna add an extra 1/2 cup of honey in here. So we're using 1.5 cups of honey per the 8 cups of juice. Okay, that's all combined. So we will set that aside. So I'm gonna turn down these because they are boiling really good. This is also boiling, so now we need to add the sweetener. Trying to get it all out. Do not want to waste any. We're gonna stir that sweetener in. We want to bring this right back up to a boil, and then we want to stir this for 2 minutes once it is boiling. I know that it's hot, but I want to just give it a taste test. That's good. Perfect amount of sweetener. Now I've seen some recipes online where you can actually add other things in with this. One of the recipes I found online, you could add lavender to this as well. I thought that would be really nice. I just kind of want to experiment just with the mulberries first. I was really leaning towards wanting to add like strawberries into this just to kind of give it more flavor, because again, this is kind of bland. I think I'm expecting like a blackberry taste out of them. It's good, it's definitely good, but it's not like super high powered sweetness. You know what mulberries actually remind me of? They remind me of elderberries. They're, in my opinion, the taste is very, very similar to an elderberry. This jam would probably taste really good with cinnamon in also, because I know like elderberry syrup has the cinnamon in it. This would probably taste delicious by adding a little bit of cinnamon sticks to this when it's cooking. But again, we're just experimenting just with the plain mulberry. So we're gonna bring this back up to a boil. And like I said, we'll set the timer for 2 minutes and boil it. In the meantime, while we're waiting for this to come to a rolling boil, we'll take these jars out. Let's see what the recipe says here. It says that this one recipe makes 4 to 5 cups, and there is approximately about 1 cup in every half pint. So we should get about 4 or 5 of these for one recipe. Hopefully we'll get 8 half pints. Okay, we need to stir this, set the timer for 2 minutes. And now we need to keep stirring for the 2 minutes. Our 2 minutes is up, so we're gonna take it off the heat, turn the burner off. Now this has foam on the top, so I'm gonna take a metal spoon and get some of that foam off. I don't want it to end up in the jar with the jelly. There's nothing wrong with it, I just want it to look pretty. So I'm gonna take that foam off. There, I got most of it off. We're gonna get our jars filled now, and we wanna leave a 1/4 inch headspace on top of these jars. I'm gonna see if I can stain my countertop. Oh my gosh. I have to do this quickly so I can get that cleaned up, because it will stain my countertop. We're gonna get a very clean rag, and we are gonna clean the tops of these jars off. Debubble it quickly, just in case there's any air bubbles stuck at the bottom. I know it's a liquid, you don't necessarily need to debubble liquids. This is just force of a habit. This one just has a little bit too much in it. This one doesn't have quite enough. And we'll get our lids on. This one is not quite full, so we will leave that set aside and then put that in the fridge once it cools down. And then we're gonna get our rings on to fingertip tight. And put into the water bath canner. I'm gonna empty a little bit of this water out because there's a lot in here and we do not need that much. There we go, got them in here. Your jars only need to be technically covered with about 2 inches of water to safely water bath can them. So we have about that. So I'm gonna get the lid back on. I'm gonna get this turned up a little bit more, and we are gonna bring this to a full rolling boil. Once it gets to that full rolling boil, we're gonna set our timer for 10 minutes and then let them go. And then after the 10 minutes, we'll come back, take them off the burner, take the lid off and let them cool for 5 minutes, and then take them out of the water bath canner. And then they need to sit undisturbed for 12 to 24 hours, and then you can take the rings off, clean them up, and then put them on your canning shelf. So that's gonna be it for that project. I am really, really excited to try this. Like I keep saying it, I love the idea of being able to take free food that was just growing wild on my property and put it into my pantry shelf and be able to use that for something. So that's gonna be it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day or night whenever you're watching this, and I will see you on the next video. Bye guys.